Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. This video has been in the works for some time, so I apologise for how long it's taken, as we've been sorting out funding and handling a few behind-the-scenes details. But now, we have some incredible news. Our Indiegogo campaign has been hugely successful. Our original goal was £50,000, and we've raised £90,000 so far at the time of this recording. Of course, we won't receive the full amount after fees, but it's still an amazing achievement. You were genuinely blown away by your support. It's clear that you want this project to happen just as much as we do. And even better, the Indiegogo campaign is still live. If you'd like to support the project further or know someone who might be interested, there's still time to contribute and help us unlock additional, just more content really. So, where is the money going? What's happening next? What's the plan? And what's our ultimate goal? So, how is the money being used and where is it going? Of the 90,000 raised, we expect to receive around 82,000 after Indiegogo's fees, bank charges and other processing costs. That 82,000 is being used to pay our team from what maybe they are owed, which obviously many of them were volunteers up to this point, and it will go towards future costs, including a senior programmer, game artists, concept artists, composers, sound designers, animators, and everyone else contributing towards the project. The remaining funds are reserved for anything we'll need to complete the alpha build. This may include software licenses, freelance modelers, additional animators, and other essential resources. This funding should sustain us until the launch of our Kickstarter campaign in March 2026. In addition, our Patreon community is currently bringing in around roughly £1,750 per month, which gives us a much needed boost to keep development moving forwards. Behind the scenes, we've been working hard shaping the direction of both the company and the game. We've held several full team meetings along with numerous discussions between team leads. So for example, Viteris is in charge of the artwork. We spoke to the new senior programmer. Our vision remains clear: to create a fun, immersive, long-lasting game that performs well and that keeps players coming back. Until recently, we had just 2 junior programmers who did an amazing job using Unreal Engine 5 blueprints. Blueprints are great for prototyping, but they're not ideal for long-term performance. About a month before our funding period ended, we brought on a senior programmer. He's been working hard to convert our blueprints into C++. By the time this video is live, that conversion should be complete, or at least wrapping up. During this time, our junior developers have also been training in C++ to help the team transition to a more performance-optimized framework. We also hired a senior game artist who bridges the gap between the programmers and the concept team, translating creative visions into technical realities. So they're currently focused on improving the environmental visuals and enhancing the game's mood and atmosphere. Meanwhile, our concepts and skin artists are updating the 5 base dragon designs and working on customizable skins, as well as some exciting new human elements coming to the game in the future. Music and sound is being created by our friends at Omni Sound. While they've paused production for now to let us focus on the alpha build, several tracks are already in development. While I have just mentioned that they have paused production, this doesn't mean they're not doing anything. What we're doing is we're going to finish the code for the alpha, and then they're going to come in and sort out all the sound. So, the plan. Initially, we imagined human gameplay as a mix between Rust and Ark's 5 Revolved, or Ascended, combining Rust's building mechanics with Ark's taming system. However, after much discussion, we realised this wouldn't be feasible. Combining complex building with a high AI count would significantly impact performance and limit our intended server capacity, which is a minimum of 100 players per server. That's what we're aiming for. At present, we are purchasing a few assets from the store, including trees, foliage, rocks, map elements, all human structures, and a few other items. However, our long-term goal is to replace all man-made structures with our own custom-built assets in the future. For the alpha, however, they will be store-bought assets. That said, this will require significant investment and currently is beyond our available budget. So, we've pivoted. For the alpha, Indiegogo supporters will gain access to the game towards the end of the year, with public testing beginning in March 2026. So, basic features first. I'm going to be talking about the human gameplay. So human gameplay will follow a familiar survival game format. Players will spawn on the beach with nothing and must gather resources to craft tools, weapons and clothing. Nice and basic. We're going to introduce a team system where leaders can invite other players in person into their team. Over time, these teams will evolve into houses, similar to what they have in real life, each with a name and a custom crest. Multiple houses can form a kingdom, with one house being elevated to a royal status. The leader of the house becomes a king or queen, able to manage taxes and kingdom-wide systems, but we'll share more on that in the future. Points of interest, or POIs. The map will feature points of interest, with major ones referred to as monuments. These will offer high-tier loot and encourage PvP conflicts. In the alpha, however, POIs will be focused on loot-based incentives, with puzzles, lore, and AI planned for future builds. The building system is a major focus for us. We want to create something unique that maintains performance, while also giving solo players and small groups a fair chance against larger clans. To achieve this, we're introducing a claiming system. Rather than building from scratch, players will discover and claim pre-existing structures. The world has been deliberately designed with more group structures than large ones, encouraging larger clans to fight amongst themselves for high-value bases. Meanwhile, smaller groups can establish themselves elsewhere and avoid being swept up in large-scale PvP if they choose. To claim a structure, the group leader must physically enter the building and interact with a claim point. This might be a flag, a fireplace, or something similar. This is still under consideration. Once claimed, the group can repair the structure and add defences, workbenches, and other upgrades. So, what kind of structures can be claimed? Here are 3 examples so far. Cabins, ideal for solo players or duos. Farms, suitable for small to mid-sized groups. Or a castle, designed for large groups or clans. Each of these can be claimed by anyone if you can hold on to it. So starting off with cabins. Cabins are designed for solo players or duos. These small single-story structures offer enough space for modest expansion while remaining relatively isolated. They will support a variety of internal and external upgrades. So internal upgrades may include beds for respawning, storage, reinforced doors, barricaded windows, workbenches, anything that can go inside of a structure. External upgrades could include crop plots or farmland, stables, wood storage, palisade walls, gates, etc. These are just a few examples. More will be added over time. Moving on to farms now. Farms are intended for mid-sized groups. Each claimed farm area will include multiple structures, such as a main farmhouse, which serves as the claim point with multiple floors depending on the specific farm, a barn for animals or storage, and miscellaneous additional buildings. Farms will support all cabin upgrades along with extra options such as wells, larger crop plots, watchtowers, and possibly other alternatives. Castles are built for large groups or clans. These are expansive, multi-structured locations that require significant effort to restore and defend. Players will need to repair walls and buildings, add anti-siege equipment, dig moats, and more. The most exciting feature of castles is the territory system. Owning a castle allows you to claim surrounding areas on the map, such as mines, farms, lumberyards, docks. These territories provide bonuses and additional income, making castles both a strategic and economic powerhouse. The territory system is most likely not going to be in the alpha, but it is something that we would like to add. So if there's enough time, it is something we will add. So crafting. The alpha will feature a simplified crafting system with benches for tools, furnaces for smelting, and fireplaces for cooking. In future builds, specialized stations like smithies, alchemy benches, and fletching tables will be added. Climbing. We wanted to introduce something unique and give armor types more meaningful distinctions beyond the usual trope of heavy is strong but slow and light is fast but weak. As a result, we're implementing a functional difference between armor types. For example, heavy armor will reduce a player's inventory capacity, while light armor will allow for increased storage space. Please note this is still a work in progress concept, it is subject to change. The most significant difference, however, is in climbing. Players wearing light armor will be able to climb up most natural surfaces, though not man-made structures, just for balance. While climbing, they'll have the option to place pitons into the wall and attach ropes, providing safety in case of fall or a hostile encounter. Once at the top, they can drop a rope to assist teammates in medium or heavy armors in climbing up as well. The system allows light armor players to function as scouts and pathfinders, enabling new strategies and a more dynamic exploration style. Siege weapons, we plan to include at least 2 siege weapons in the alpha. A battering ram, used to break down the doors and walls of enemy bases, and a ballista, which will feature some particularly interesting mechanics. One of the most common questions we receive is how will dragons and humans interact in combat? What chance does a human have against such powerful creatures? Well, the ballista is one of their key tools. Ballistas are essentially giant crossbows. They can either be wheeled into position or bolted to the ground. In our game, players will have access to several types of bolts. So a standard bolt, effective against humans, dragons and other creatures. Fire bolts, which will cause splash damage on impact. And harpoons, which can be fired at dragons. If they hit, a rope is attached between the dragon and the ballista, tethering the creature within a certain radius. Once tethered, the dragon will have a few options: attempt to destroy the ballista or try to break free from the rope. Meanwhile, humans can detach the rope from the ballista and anchor it into the ground, allowing the ballista to reload and fire again. This system allows the players to strategically pin dragons down, either to deliver another volley of bolts or to move in and finish the creature off. In our world, it is important to note that dragons, while they are powerful animals, they're not magical beings. This means they can be killed with arrows, bolts, spears, swords, and whatever else a human can devise. Combat-wise, we're aiming for a combat style inspired by games such as Mordhau, Chivalry, and others in that genre. In our game, human characters will be played in first-person perspective. However, for the alpha release, we're starting with third-person animations. This decision isn't due to ease or convenience, but simply because our current time and budget constraints. First-person animations will be added later and properly synchronized once resources allow. For the alpha, we're including a small selection of basic weapons to help convey the core feel of our combat system. This will include just a one-handed sword, sword and shield, a spear and shield, and a longbow. This initial weapon set is designed to give players a clear sense of direction and pacing of our combat system, while providing a solid foundation for future expansion. Now let's talk about the dragons. So, for the alpha build, we plan to include 5 of the base 15 dragons: the Icy Crown, Vitreous, Kirin, Dustrious, and the Valhad. This selection consists of 1 carnivore, 2 omnivores, and 2 herbivores, with size distribution of 1 large, 1 medium, and 3 small dragons. All 5 have already been modelled, however the Icy Crown is being completely rebuilt to meet our current quality standards. This means we'll be redoing everything from scratch. The high poly sculpt has been retopologized into a game ready mesh, and we're now moving on to rigging and initial animations. As I'm now recording this, it's most likely already been finished, as we do stream every Sunday, and we're doing slow progress on the Icy Crown. The Kirin will also receive an update to the model and some new animations, but will largely remain the same in design and function. It's just to give it a bit of polish. Flight mechanics are undergoing some refinement. We're adjusting controls and making movement more responsive to environmental conditions. For example, wind direction. Wind direction will influence flight speed and handling, so it could be a north heading wind or a south heading wind, and this will change how flight works. We'll also be adding storms. This will increase the danger of flying, adding a tactical element to when and where players take to the skies. It will also reduce flying creatures, which are some of the most dangerous threats, to being forced to stay on the ground, which brings them under threat from the other creatures and humans themselves. We're also introducing combat-focused aerial maneuvers, such as dodges, barrel rolls, and more, to make flying feel more dynamic and engaging. So moving on to dragon combat now. One of the main shortcomings in many creature survival games is the combat system, often reduced to a mindless spam clicking attack while chasing down an opponent, relying on bleed effects or raw damage output. It tends to be repetitive, shallow, and just ultimately unfulfilling systems. So we're taking a different approach. Our goal is to build a more engaging and skill-based combat system. we're drawing inspiration from fighting games, where each creature has a unique moveset. This approach adds depth and requires genuine skill, and turns every encounter into a tactical, boss-like battle that rewards timing, decision-making, and positioning. It basically makes you feel like you're a mini-boss or a boss in a game, and just adds a bit more oomph to the combat. So customization. Customization is a major focus in our game. We're committed to offering a wide variety of custom cosmetic options for dragons. Players will be able to alter features such as claw length, tooth size, snout shape, spikes, style, and much more. Each dragon will have its own unique set of options, however, we'll ensure that their overall silhouette remains consistent. This helps maintain visual clarity, balanced gameplay, and cohesive design language across the world. So if you're a human, for example, and you see a shadow fly over you, you can make out that that shadow is an icy crown, regardless of the customized features. We'll be offering two types of skins. Static skins. These are fixed appearances that cannot be modified. These are typically reserved for special content such as backer rewards or unique variants like albino dragons. So they'll be a bit more fancy and just not really in line with the lore. It's just something for players. And then customizable skins. These allow players to choose from various patterns and adjust colours and details to suit their preferences. However, we'll apply restrictions on colour palettes to preserve the tone and atmosphere of the game, so no neon pink dragons disrupting immersion. So, moving on to survival mechanics, we're introducing more interesting survival mechanics for dragons. So, players will need to find food and water to stay alive, although creature AI won't be included just yet. The map will be populated with corpses from future creatures such as William drones, Skaith, wraiths, and various types of fish that we just have lying around. This approach allows us to test server performance and simulate survival gameplay while we continue to build out the ecosystem. So in layman's terms, basically, we need to see how many players we can get into a server, and then we slowly add the AI in and see how the AI affects performance. And then we'll, it will change what we add and what we don't add. Moving on to night vision, we'll be exploring the addition of toggleable night vision to help dragons navigate in the dark. When activated, a dragon's eyes will semi-glow, similar to how cat's eyes reflect light. This feature is still under review, and we're considering its impact on game balance and overall gameplay dynamics, as we just need to see how fair it is with human on dragon sort of combat. Nesting. So a basic nesting system is currently in development. Players will be able to build nests anywhere and invite other players of the same species to join them. Initially, nests will primarily serve as a group spawn point, helping friends or team members regroup more easily. In future, nests will offer additional functions such as unique skin variations and progression-related benefits. Scent will be a toggleable ability that allows dragon players to detect nearby food sources, other dragons, and essential resources within a limited range. This ability can be used while on foot and will be disabled during flight. Dragons can use scent to track other players, but there'll be ways to mask your presence, such as washing off blood or wallowing in mud, just like real animals do in the wild. Now, we're not sure if the scent sort of hiding will be added into the alpha. Again, this is something that we'd like to do, but if there's not enough time, it'll be something that is added later on in an update. Our growth system is already implemented in the current build, so when a player spawns, they begin as a baby dragon and must survive by exploring, eating, drinking, and engaging in combat. Over time, the dragon will grow naturally, but if hunger or thirst drops too low, growth slows down, and if it reaches 0, growth will halt completely. Maintaining full hunger and thirst bars allows for accelerated growth. Additionally, if you're part of a nest and remain close to your parents, your growth rate will increase even further, offering a clear incentive for social and cooperative play. We've designed the growth system to be faster paced than in many similar titles, ensuring it remains rewarding without feeling too tedious. Hordes are distinct from nests. They'll be placed in pre-designated locations scattered across the map, varying in both size and setting. Some hordes will be suited for small groups, while others will cater to larger clans. Functionally, hordes will operate similar to nests, but with added depth and progression. They can be upgraded, much like human bases, albeit with distinct dragon-themed twists. For the alpha build, hordes will provide specific buffs, such as increased growth rates, group spawn functionality, and the ability to sacrifice horde contents to accelerate growth. Other features are currently under discussion and will be expanded upon in future builds. So how to build a horde. To establish a horde, players will need to steal gold and valuable ores from human mines. This introduces natural conflict, both with other players and humans. Killing human players and consuming their corpse will also add value to the horde, potentially unlocking special items or rewards. However, hordes won't go unchallenged. Humans will be able to raid the hordes, gaining access to rare items, blueprints, gold, weapons, and armor. This creates a high-risk, high-reward dynamic that adds both tension and strategic value to dragon gameplay. Dragons that are not omnivores or carnivores, also known as herbivores, I don't know why I went the long way around with that, they will be able to steal crops, human crops, or they can also steal the ores as well. So beyond dragons and humans, in addition to core gameplay mechanics, we'll be introducing a number of immersive systems that don't strictly belong to either dragons or humans, but will play a huge role in shaping the atmosphere and experience of the world. Music will be central in establishing the world's emotional tone and immersion. Each dragon will have its own set of musical themes tied to major moments, such as their first flight or their first sprint, key growth milestones like reaching adulthood. Humans too will have dynamic musical scores which shift. These reactive soundscapes will help make each and every experience feel meaningful and cinematic. Each dragon will have unique vocal profiles, including randomized pitched variations, meaning some dragons will sound deeper or higher pitched than others, even within the same species. Dragons will also have a variety of vocalizations, such as friendly calls, warning cries, aggressive roars, and more. So most of these are actually already in the game. To add an extra layer of immersion, when players send messages in chat, their dragon will emit a corresponding vocal cue, reinforcing the connection between communication and in-world behaviour. So the environmental audio will also respond to your surroundings. For example, entering caves or enclosed spaces will introduce echo and reverb effects. Outdoor areas will vary based on the weather, the time of day, and the biome that you're in. Our partners at Omni Sound are just as excited as we are to bring this to life and to help make the sound design truly exceptional. So the world now. We've been carefully exploring how to make the world feel fresh and exciting with every playthrough, while remaining faithful to the game's lore. One of our core goals is replayability. To achieve this, the overall layout of the map will remain consistent, but the placement of biomes, resources, structures, and hordes will be randomized. This ensures that no two playthroughs feel exactly the same, keeping exploration engaging and unpredictable. For those interested in the technical side, we're using procedural content generation, or PCG, for foliage. The density of vegetation will be randomized in small clusters. The higher the assigned percentage, the more foliage will be generated in that area. So looking ahead, this is our current development goal leading up to March next year, or March 2026. We believe it's achievable with our existing team and newly streamlined workflow. That said, this is game development and it can be a strange beast. Unexpected challenges do crop up from time to time. So, while we're confident in our progress, it's important to temper expectations. If anything goes off course, we will be honest with you and let you know right away. So, as we do approach the end, I wanted to ask you all a question. Out of everything I've shared, which feature are you most excited about? Feel free to leave that in the comments below. It really does actually help more people seeing the video. Come join our Discord server, where we post updates every 3 weeks now. We did originally do once a week, but we decided to move it to once every 3 weeks, just so that we don't overdo it with people's the updates and the pings. It's the best place to chat with our community members, talk to the developers themselves, and the team leads. Or just ask questions about the game, the Indiegogo, or Patreon. If you supported us on Indiegogo, you'll gain early access to help test our features later this year, if you've got the relevant backer tier with a game copy. And if you haven't supported yet, now's the time. The campaign is still live. but we will be closing in about a month's time, and then you'll have to wait until March next year during the Kickstarter. If you'd like to support us further, check out Patreon. There you'll get exclusive early content, so we'll be posting every 2 days, behind the scenes development, and a unique Patreon exclusive skin for dragons. Every little bit helps us. That said, please don't feel pressured to contribute. Real life always does come first. If you want to help in other ways, simply spread the word, join the Discord. That alone makes a big difference. For content creators, if you're a content creator and are interested in covering the game, please reach out to Clack Knight on Discord for more information and collaboration opportunities. Thank you so much for your continued support and for getting this far in the video. I think this is our longest video at this point, but we'll see you in the next one.